I am Radio 102.1 FM. Welcome to the Sports Up Show tonight. This is your one-stop show for everything sport entertainment, where we get to serve you all of the latest in the ever-exciting world of sport, bringing you to you as you see it, and we expect to hear it from you as well. We serve you the best sport buffet on a silver platter. I am Radio 102.1 FM. And yes, on the menu this evening, I have story from football, from basketball, athletics, tennis, and major transfer stories, just as you have them on the back pages of the major dailies this evening. Ayode Jajibwe is my name, and such an honor to have you join us today. Thank you for being on the other side. What a weekend of football we had this last weekend. Action-packed weekend everywhere you turn to. In the Nigerian Premier Football League, yes, Lobby Stars are sitting on top, lonely at the top. Bang, 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 bang. And straight to the English Premier League as well. Classic here and there. 8-goal epic showdown. Talking about the match between Chelsea and Manchester City. 8 goal. Score me, I score you. Do me, I do you. Man, no go vex for that one. If you score me, I score you. And then from there, going into the Spanish La Liga, Atletico Madrid. They don't know when to stop right now. 16 games on the bounce. Yes. Diego Simeone seems to be getting something right in that team at this point in time. And yes, all of these and many more we'll be taking a look at in the course of the show this evening. Ayode Jajibwe is my name, and yes, I'll be your pilot on the show tonight. Stick around, we'll be right here.
This is Sports Hub on High Impact 102.1 FM.
And yeah, starting from the home front this evening, the Nigerian Football Federation has said that it would use the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against the Crocodiles of Lesotho and Zimbabwe national team to prepare the Super Eagles for the 2024 African Cup of Nations built to hold next year in Cote d'Ivoire. Yeah, don't forget that the Super Eagles camp for the World Cup qualifiers were opened yesterday in Uyo, and then majority of the players are already arriving in the city today. We've seen a couple of them, and then the pictures arriving in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State capital, earlier today. And then in a release by the Nigerian Football Federation, the Super Eagles full training will begin this evening at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium, which will host the match. And then NFF has said that the Lesotho delegation to the game would also arrive in Nigeria today aboard a Kenya flight. And then, yes, we are looking to see how this one is going to pan out, because General Secretary Mohamed Sanusi has assured Nigerians that the Federation has provided everything the Super Eagles need to pick the World Cup tickets and also excel at the 2024 African Cup of Nations. And just so you know, the AFCON is just 61 days away from here. Yeah, just exactly 2 months away from the AFCON. So, you know, I'm not doing this alone. I've got the man who's going to be manning my defense line. Yeah, he's the man from the Emirates Stadium. Or you can call him Butter Boy, or I call him Uche Okori. Welcome to the show.
It's always a fine time being on Sport Hub right here on iPad Radio 102.1 FM. It's always good to talk sports on a Monday, you know, after the weekend of so many footballing activities. You know, football is the greatest sport ever. Yeah. So it's always a fine time to talk sports.
Welcome to the show. And yes, we're talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria going into this double header. The first one against Zimbabwe, the first one against Lesotho, and then we'll be playing Zimbabwe right after that one. What are the chances of the Super Eagles of Nigeria going into these qualifiers and then preparation for the AFCON that is to come next month? And next month? 2 months to this time, because I just mentioned 61 days.
Yeah, in January. Yeah. Well, it's a good game. It's a good preparation step for what is to come. Good players, new players coming in the likes of Nathan Tella. Well, I think it's until they are in that game, until I see them play, until I see what they play, get to determine how I think they are going to perform in the Nations Cup come January.
Okay.
But I think this is a perfect match to determine the kind of players we need in our squad. Aside the fact that a player like Gift Orban wasn't in the selection,
was not called up.
Yeah, wasn't called up.
Yeah.
I think aside that, and maybe in the goalkeeper line, maybe
Adewale Adeleye has been dropped officially.
Yeah. So I think aside that, because I do not fancy our goalkeeping option, I do not fancy Uzoha as our number one goalkeeper. Aside that, I think that it's a good lineup. It's a good names on the list, and hopefully they are able to deliver. But I think we need better midfielders as well. I think we need someone else who can come in. Who can
I mean, the last time we were on the show, I mentioned about this particular guy who plays for Royal Antwerp, talking about Alassane Yusuf. I mean, I'm still finding it. Well, I don't know, but it's always catch me aback whenever we are having the Super Eagles call up, and then this guy is not in the in the list that is always being released. Because I mean, out there he's doing fine for himself. He's got a Nigerian counterpart in that team, as we talk about Chidera Ejuke, who moved from a Russian team to that particular Royal Antwerp side, and then this guy is doing good for himself. Honestly, I believe that the fact that yes, we have the thin midfield line as well. Because this midfield, if you take a look at it, now that certain Wilfred Ndidi is not going to be within the ranks, it is very, very thin. And then the crop of players are actually there right now. Players who can say they are not out and out in the teams that they are playing for.
Yeah, definitely.
Talk about the likes of Joe Aribo.
It's sad. It's sad that at this stage of our football, where we know for a fact that we have way quality players playing football week in, week out, there are certain players that I think we should have to, let them be, because if you're not performing in the world stage, if you're not performing week in, week out, playing football week in, week out, you have no business in being in the Nigerian squad. We are not a country that lacks players. If it's a situation whereby we're a country that maybe has only like one or two players outside the shores of Nigeria, maybe playing let's use a country like Egypt, for example, where you can feel like, okay, these ones are the big boys, they are playing in the big teams, they should still make a name in the team. We're a different country. I think there's rarely any of our player in that squad now that is not playing outside the shores of Nigeria. So we have players that are there in every country of the world.
I mean, all due respect to the new boy on block, talk about Nathan Teller. He got called up, and then he got his first goal of the season for Bayer for Leverkusen in their game last night. So that's some kind of great fit for him. And then what a way to announce himself, like, no guys, I'm not just coming here. I'm coming to add something. I've got something to offer as well.
It's just like what Gift Orban did. He didn't get called up, but what did he do?
He had a hat trick.
He had a hat trick to tell them, hey,
look at what you're missing out on.
This is what you're missing out on. I really, really, really think Orban should have made the list. In as much as Nathan Teller is a fine player, but I really felt since Osimhen was not going to be on that list, why not an Orban? Have Gift Orban be in there. Let's see, because this is the opportunity to find out if these players can really do it in the big stage for Nigeria in the country football.
I mean, away from the home front, let's go straight to Europe, and then let's start with tennis this evening. Let's talk about the ATP finals, and that is currently ongoing in Turin. Let's talk about the former number one, because right about now is the former number one. I'm talking about no other person, Carlos Alcaraz. After missing out the ATP finals last year because of an abdominal injury, Alcaraz was beaten in his opening match of this season competition by two-time champion Alexander Zverev 6-7, 6-3, 6-4. Earlier today, Zverev also missed last year's edition after tearing his ligament in his right ankle during a French Open semi-final loss to Rafael Nadal. But the big serving German player clearly likes the fast conditions inside the Pala Alpito, where he claimed the title 2 years ago. Zverev served 16 aces to Alcaraz 11, saved 5 of 6 break points, and never really let Alcaraz feel in control. I mean, Carlos Alcaraz, ever since the last time out, he's not seemed to be himself. I'll talk about that Cincinnati finals where he first squared up against a certain Novak Djokovic, and then that seemed to be the turning point for everything. And where you can blame it on injuries, because yes, at the US Open, it got eliminated. I think it got eliminated in the round of 16, if I'm not mistaken. And then this time around, this is the ATP Finals, the last tournament for the season, and now he's got knocked out in the first round.
Well, it's Alcaraz is a fine player anytime, any day. It's just so sad that since after his injury, he has not been able to, come back to his usual form. But it's a game of tennis. It's a physical game. It's something that once you're out of it for a minute, it takes you like a year to come back into it fully again, because you have to be on complete fitness, like fully fit. And if you're coming out of an injury, competing with people who have been healthy all this while, training and making sure they're in different competitions just to keep fit and keep their game 100, it's really going to be difficult for him to come back and take back his sport. But I see him coming back to do well, but I do not see him taking back his sport.
And then, looking at the rest of the games that he's going to be playing in this particular ATP Finals, this is the NATO ATP Finals, and then he's still got a game against a certain Andrei Rublev, and then he's going to be playing another one against Dani Medvedev. He's lost his first one against Alexander Zverev. Yes, don't forget that the Paris Masters, he got knocked out in the second round against a qualifier in the person of Roman Safiullin. Not a good one for him, by the way. Yeah. But then, away from Carlos Alcaraz, let's talk about one person who does not know when to stop. Novak Djokovic. Yes, right about now, he secured the year's end #1 ranking for a record-extending 8th time. Djokovic needed only one match to win at the ATP Finals to be sure of keeping the top spot, and the 24-time Grand Slam champion did it in his opener, beating Ogarune 7-6, 6-7, 6-3 on Sunday. The 30-year-old had already moved ahead of previous record holder Petr Sampras 6 years at #1 2 years ago. Carlos Alcaraz took the honors last year, and after this tournament, Djokovic will become the first player to hold #1 for 400 weeks, with Roger Federer at 310, the only other man to eclipse the 300-week mark. Just take a look at that. 300, 310, 400.
Honestly, man, Novak Djokovic is not stopping anytime soon. He's here to take over. Honestly, at one certain time, life is really a funny race. Yeah. At one certain time, we all knew Roger Federer to be #1.
Yeah,
it switched to Rafael Nadal. Then Djokovic. Yeah. Djokovic at one point slipped, then he's back again. Yeah. Honestly, and it's really, really good for the game.
And he's standing the test right now.
Yeah, standing the test of time, honestly speaking.
Most hated of them all.
Like
most really, good of them all.
We remember the COVID thingy. Yeah. He had the whole issues.
And then he stood his ground.
He stood his ground, and this is him till now, still doing his thing. Yeah. We had the whole ATP cancelling him at all that time where he wasn't participating, and for him to be participating full time now, and he's back to #1.
I mean, earlier in the day,
what's better than that?
Earlier in the day, we saw Jannik Sinner beat Stefanos Tsitsipas 6-4, 6-4 for his tour leading 14th win indoors this year. And yes, matches in the other group, just like I mentioned, Alcaraz up against Alexander Zverev, and Dan Medvedev will be playing against Andrei Rublev in the other games that will be played later today. And then the top two finishers in each group advance to the semi-finals. And away from tennis, let's go straight to talk football this evening. Yes, the king of all sports. Sef does more than we expected over the weekend. And let's start from the matches that were played on Saturday. In the English Premier League on Saturday, Wolverhampton Wanderers were 2-1 winners over Tottenham Hotspur. And yes, talk about Angel Postecoglou, because yes, at the point in time, Tottenham Hotspur were feeling like, yes, we now have the Angel Postecoglou, we have the Angel.
They were feeling invincible.
And now this is back-to-back games that they've lost.
Yeah, it's really, really sad for Tottenham. I think it's what football is. It's what English football is.
Don't you think injuries are also,
which is why I said it was sad for them, because at this time of English football, for you to be playing only in the league, where you feel like, okay, this is the opportunity for us to come out and show off, and for you to suffer back-to-back injuries from the likes of Van de Ven, James Maddison being the worst case scenario, and honestly, losing out on James Madison to January is a really, really huge blow for them.
A big omission for them.
Big omission for them because it got to show in the team that someone creative, the creativity in the team was lacking. You know, when you see them play against Wolverhampton, the midfield was lacking. The Wolves was in charge of the game completely. So honestly, I feel bad for them, but it's what football is. It's why you need to have that depth in your squad.
Arsenal were 3-1 winners over Burnley. As expected, it's going to happen. It's meant to happen like that. But then one non-convincing win for me was the game between Manchester United and Luton Town, and that scrappy 1-0 win. And then it actually took Eric Ten Hag's tenure. It actually saved him a couple of backlash this weekend, because yes, they just had to get that particular 1-0 win up against Luton Town. But then this same Luton Town was the team that drew up against Liverpool a few days ago before this particular win.
So for me, I think in as much as the Manchester United performance wasn't really Manchester United kind of performance, we all know what we're supposed to expect from Manchester United performance. But it's a good one for them because, hey, you need to win these games, no matter how bad it is. The football is about getting the points. And so far, they are getting the points. They won the game. They are less than 5 points or 6 points away from Manchester City, who's sitting on top of the table.
Yes.
And so I think it's all about Manchester United complementing on the victory so far, making sure that once they return from the FIFA break this week.
Yeah, the international break this weekend.
The international break, which will be happening this week and the weekend. Once they return, it's to get back to winning ways. I think they're going to be playing against, I can't remember
Manchester
now.
United?
Yeah, it just completely skipped my mind who they're playing against next. But it goes to show that they need to win their next match. They need to make sure that they continue on a winning way, because that is what Manchester United
are just 6 points off the top of the Manchester City. They are 6 points off the top, the first team on the log, and then they are just 5 points behind Arsenal, who sit second on the log at this point in time. I mean, an interesting one for Manchester United, if you ask me. Let's just hope that they're able to keep up with this momentum. And yes, next Manchester United are going to be playing. Okay. Okay, yeah, United are going to be playing against Everton, and that's going to be 26th of November. Away from Manchester City, let's talk about the classic that happened last night. I mean, no one saw that coming. And then this kid, or should I say kids now, because it was not just him. He had to, combine with a particular former Manchester City player, talking about Raheem Sterling. Cole Palmer.
Yeah, well, in using the words of Peter Drury, City's boy has become Chelsea's man. Honestly, it is what it is. He showed class. He showed that he is there to win it. He showed that he left Manchester City for a reason, to become a first team player, and he can stand his own. And it was a beautiful game of football. It's arguably the best Premier League game so far this season. Yeah. It might end up being the best Premier League game of the season.
Yeah.
I think only a bigger cracker will upturn this one. At this point, I don't think there's any game that will be bigger than this, honestly speaking. But it was a beautiful game of football. I was more interested in the fact that Chelsea could stand their own this well against Manchester City. Manchester City were trying to bully them, but it wasn't working out. It showed that Chelsea had a pattern they wanted to play, and they were able to do it well. And this goes to show that Chelsea is really still that team, because looking at this season, they've played against the likes of Tottenham, they've played against Arsenal, they've played against Manchester City now, they've played against Manchester United, I guess. No, they've not played against Manchester United.
Just have not played United.
Manchester City, Tottenham, Arsenal, and they won one and drew two.
Yeah.
These are the big boys, or arguably, that are supposed to be the one giving them the tough time, but Chelsea have stood their ground against the big teams. So it goes to show that they are the team they used to be, and they can become
who they want to be,
who they really want to be.
I know, I can.
In as much as they are not where they want to be, but it's obvious that they're actually on the right path to becoming that team.
I mean, away from that, let's talk about the game between Liverpool and Brentford. Yeah, that one ended 3-0. And then Aston Villa were 3-1 winners against Fulham. Yes, Aston Villa right about now. Well, it's going to take any team that is going to play them away to actually secure a win against them. Well, anything that is making you play them at home, then I'm not sure.
Well, it's really, really nice what Unai Emery has been doing in Aston Villa so far. Great performance, great team. Yeah. They are going to be that team that are going to they're going to decide. They're going to be a decider for who's going to win the title. They're going to be one of those teams because they will have the ability to take points from the big team, well as drop some points against the big teams. But I think Aston Villa is going to be one team that's going to look out for because they're going to be fighting to go back to Europe, of course. Yes. Definitely. He wants to, and I think this time he wants to maintain the fact that he wants to continue playing the least being the Europa. I think that's what he wants to maintain, and it's a beautiful thing. It really goes a long way to show that once you invest in a team by bringing in the right hands, the team can become as good as you can imagine. I mean,
talking about playing in Europe, we need to talk about Newcastle United because they seem to not be getting a grip of themselves right about now. They lost 2-0 to FC Bournemouth over the weekend, and
which was a shocker.
I mean, nobody saw that coming, and then to say that their form in Europe right now is not really a good one. They've lost back-to-back games against Dortmund, and then they will be playing Paris Saint-Germain next.
Well, it's sad. We all thought Newcastle would be the shining light of the English team in the Champions League.
A quick word. We saw how they played, and then we saw what almost transpired between a certain Kieran Trippier and a couple of fans who were calling him out, and then he went to them and said, "Don't they know the number of players they have who are out there injured?"
Yes.
So, do you think the problem with Newcastle at this point is it injuries or Eddie Howe's play style?
Well, I think it has to be with injuries. Eddie Howe has always played like this, and it has always worked out. I think the only reason why Newcastle are not as good as they are from the beginning of the season is still the injury started. Like we expected them not to perform even against Arsenal. It's just that they had that late goal winner and that scrambled whatever happened, and they got to win that game. So, but it's really sad when you face injuries like this. But that's what makes the difference between a bigger club and a smaller club. The depth of your team really matters. It is what Man City has showed us, that once you have a bigger team, a bigger squad, you can go.
And then there's depth there for you.
Yeah, you can go as long as you can imagine, and it's going to affect Newcastle for a very long time. And I think at this point, with 2 games to go in the Champions League left, I think it's going to be really hard to see Newcastle qualify from that group.
Just so you know, it's going to be really hard. I mean, away from that, let's talk about the Nigerian Premier Football League. Yes, we saw a couple of games that were played in the match day 8, and just so you know, right after this one, next month, I think the weekend of 26th of October, we'll be seeing the Nigerian Premier Football League back on television, so you should be looking out for that particular. It's not just going to be the app right about now. We'll be watching it live from from your direct to home. So it's a laudable one.
We need to give them a round of applause, honestly, because we've been calling for it.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
We have it.
We've been calling for it, and I think in as much as they want to do it, it's really important they make sure it's on our terrestrial station and not on cable TV.
Result of matches that were played over the weekend. Yeah, Kano Pillars won the Zobia Derby. You can call that the Zobia Derby, up against Eyimba. 1-0 that one ended. Katsina United were 1-0 winners over Rivers United. And Kwara United played 1-1 draw at home to Shooting Stars. Yes, that's the battle of warriors, you can call it, because the Oluyole Warriors and the Afonja Warriors. So Lobby Stars were 1-0 winners at home against Sporting Lagos. Not a good one for Sporting Lagos, but then at this point in time, Lobby Stars, just like I mentioned, they're sitting at the top. Bang, 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 bang. Nobody seems to be shaking them at this time. And then if you consider how Lobby Stars season actually ended last season to how they are playing this season, then you can talk about a real transformation.
Honestly, man, real transformation, and it's good to see that the 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 Nigerian Premier Football League is evolving, because at one certain time we used to think only a certain clubs can win the league. Only home clubs can win at home and all that. But it's beautiful to see them evolve, to see Lobby Stars on top of the league, and I hope it continues like this, where we have many private investors invest in clubs. That way we get to see different clubs winning the league different year. That way it means our league is improving. It means our league is getting better.
I mean, in other games that were played, not just those drew 0-0 to Bendel Insurance. Bendel Insurance, they've not seemed to be getting their foot off the pedal at this point in time, because this is not the Bendel Insurance we saw during the Abridged League last season. Other games that were played, Plateau United were 3-1 winners over Abia Warriors, and Remo Stars, 4-0 thumping of Gombe United at home, coming from the back of their last time out. Not a good game they played in the last one, but then this one they won 4-0 at home to Gombe United.
Well, it's a beautiful, beautiful victory for them. Gombe United losing back-to-back games. I remember they lost their last game against Doha, the Derby, and now losing 4-1. They lost 3-0 in the Derby, if I'm not mistaken. Now 4-1. That's 7 goals.
This is 4-0 against Gombe United.
4-0, not even 4-1. Nah. So that's 7 goals considered in 2 games. It's really, really not good. It shows how poor it is, because in the Nigerian Premier Football League, it's difficult to concede 4 goals. Now, for you to have considered 7 goals in 2 games, it shows how poor your defense is.
And then I mean for Remo Stars, a good run coming from losing 1-0 to Bendel Insurance at home. Just so someone said it down. The next game, Remo Stars are going to be winner, and they did it. Sunshine Stars up against Enugu Rangers 2-2. That one ended. And then there's a good news I would like to share with you all out there, and this one is talking about the Nigerian Women Football League. He's going to be making his TV debut as well for the first time since its inception, and that's talking about 33 years ago. Coming from there next week when the season is going to be starting, there's going to be an historic development in the Nigerian Women Football League, because it's going to be debuting on TV as well, and then you can watch it everywhere. Don't forget that this league has started since the year 1990. I know some people are just hearing about it now.
It's really, really sad.
Yeah, but this league started in 1990, and then no fewer than 19 channels will be showing this game live, starting from the game that will be kicking off next weekend in Ekiti State. The first game will be starting in Ekiti. Ekiti Queens up against Delta Queens will be the first game that will be shown live since 1990. I mean, it's just a date for me because it's been a long time.
Honestly, man, it's since 1990. We're talking about the biggest, team
women football
in Africa.
Yeah.
Do you get my point?
Yeah.
It's really, really, really crazy. But hey, it's here now, so let's appreciate the fact that they're about doing reviving, because this will go a long way to showcasing our ladies. It will go a long way to building the future stars, because now we're going to get to see more
We need it more.
Yeah, we get to see more persons making it into the team. At least we get to see the players and know that, hey, these are better players. What is this one doing in the national team when we have so persons there? You know, that's how we get to know. So hopefully this will help improve the women league.
And here's one of the stories we're monitoring at this point. Is talking about Nigerian defender Bruno Oyemechi, who plays for Boa Vista FC of Portugal, is likely to be missing out, and then might not just be reporting to camp for the upcoming games for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Yes, Bruno Oyemechi, don't forget that he plays for Boa Vista FC in the Portuguese league, and then it is reported that he got injured in the game that was played yesterday. And talking about that, there's a new color for the new Chelsea poster boy. Talking about Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer has been rewarded for his Chelsea form this season with a late call-up to Gareth Southgate. England scored for the team's final Euro 2024 qualifiers. Southgate has added Palmer, Aston Villa centre-back Ezri Konsa, and Manchester City defender Rico Lewis to his group for matches against Malta and North Macedonia following the withdrawals or injury of James Maddison, Lewis Dunk, and Callum Wilson. A good run for Cole Palmer.
Yeah, beautiful one. It's a good thing he went to Chelsea. I think, honestly, man, because
so if you like, if you had remained at Manchester City, this would now have come.
It might not have, because I remember Pep Guardiola saying, "Hey, stay. Mahrez is gone. You have more chance of playing football now. But the question is, would he have benched Foden? No. So him being in Chelsea is sure of the fact that he's going to start every game. So what's better than that? Starting every game and you playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world.
That's what every footballer wants.
So
playing time in, time out, week in, week out. I'm Radio 102.1 FM. And here's how much you can take on the Sports Up Show tonight. Many thanks to you for being a part of the show. Many thanks to you for listening to us this evening, allowing us to serve you the latest in the ever exciting world of sport. Do well to join us same time Wednesday, 7:30 to 8 p.m. That's when Sports will be returning to your airwaves. And they can catch us every morning, 10 a.m. to 10 minutes on the flip side of 10, where we get to tell you sports in a jiffy, your early morning tonic, your breakfast tonic, serving you the bits and pieces of stories making the rounds in the ever exciting world of sport. Ayode Jajibo is my name, and yes, I've got my soul brother doing the dissecting and the analysis with me on the show this evening.
Oh, thank you so much, Ayo, for having me right here on Sports Up on Impact Radio 102.1 FM. It's always good talking sports, There's no better feeling. There's no better feeling than when we talk sports, because it's that thing that always lifts your soul anytime, any day.
Most definitely. So see you on Wednesday. Stay safe out there, people. Please do stay safe. Good night. Stay with us. The drop down continues.
Hey, High Impact.
Hi, how may I help you?
Which club is the first to win Champions League?
That's very easy. Real Madrid. The first Champions League was